All right.
Here we are.
We are live
Yay.
again.
Again. It's been so long, Jess.
Oh my gosh, I know. If you're just tuning in live, Allison and I used to have a podcast show every Friday morning during the pandemic. It was
Yeah,
called the Jess and Allison Show with no name.
it was the best.
It was the best. We just got together and we laughed. It was so fun.
Pretty much what we did.
Yeah. And then we got rude comments on YouTube, like all you do is laugh and say the word like a lot.
Are you serious? I didn't know that. So I don't check the YouTube comments.
Oh my gosh. I've been trying to figure out how to bring back a live stream show every Friday morning. And so Allison agreed very last minute to be my first guest on my first live stream show, which I figured out yesterday.
I love how you do things. It's just like, I'm going to make this and let's do it. Here we go.
Immediately. I've been thinking about this for a long time. Good morning, everyone. Hi, Kathy and Nancy. I've been so struggling with my podcast because you have to come up with something to talk about. And I don't know, it's just like when you don't have the motivation to do something, it's so hard to actually do it. Like you got to be in the zone. That's what this whole entire podcast today is going to be about with Allison. So I decided that I was going to the one thing I love on podcasts is interviewing people, but I don't like to interview like other people who want to be on podcasts. I'd like to interview our people and find out like how their lives have changed, like how their perceptions of clutter have changed, like just all that really good. I like to hear the story of the everyday person, right? Mm-hmm. So that is what this podcast is going to be. And Allison, I think, has an interesting story to share. She was not like prepped for this at all.
It's the best kind.
to just go back a little bit. Clutter is everywhere in our lives, and I really do believe all clutter is connected. And when I figured out decluttering and helping other people declutter, the biggest piece of clutter that then appeared in my life was building this business. All of a sudden, this crazy business that was just going like wildfire was my new clutter. And I've had to learn a whole set of new skills to deal with this clutter, which has been mind-blowing. So the interesting thing here is that, so my personal journey, I was working as a professional organizer in people's homes. And then I started doing workshops because I wanted to break down some financial barriers and all that shame. People don't actually like to let you into their homes, which I totally get, right? So how do you help people without actually going into their homes? And then I hired a Facebook groups coach and was in a Facebook group learning how to run Facebook groups. And that is where I met Allison, who was also on this journey. And it's been, so Allison, do you want to that's kind of so our businesses have co-evolved, I will say.
Yes. Yeah. And we met, I would say, I mean, you were farther ahead than me. I'm going to fix my light real quick. You were farther ahead of me in kind of the structure of what you had already set up. But I'd say in the online space, we kind of started at the same space, which was really fun to then become friends over that and grow together in that. It was a really fun thing, because I think when you and I started talking, we just really hit it off. And as far as the way we were working with information in this new space and how we were processing things, it was a really cool start. I like that.
It was a really cool start. I have thought back. So there were a lot of people who were in that program with us, hundreds of people. I haven't kept in contact with most of them. I don't know how successful everyone has been or whatever, but in the beginning of the program, the first clutter bootcamp that I did, we know was very successful. And I think in retrospect, the reason it did so well was because I had already been doing it in front of live audiences as a workshop, right? So I had my content, I knew exactly what people needed. It was already tested and so I had that advantage, but I didn't understand that as an advantage at the time. Yeah. Right. I had no idea. I just like, oh, okay, we'll do this online. There's a billion people on Facebook. It's guaranteed to work. It doesn't actually work like that though.
It was a great attitude to go into it with though, because your attitude of how you go into stuff really does affect how things go. That's cool.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, your attitude is everything. Mindset is everything, Allison.
Yep.
I'll teach you that. So, like, my clutter was just basically like launching a business that like suddenly was like growing really quickly.
Mhm.
And Allison, I would love to hear like what was your clutter? Like how has that unfolded over the last 3 years?
Oh my goodness. So I would say that business is like the biggest fast track for growth. There's a lot of things that are, but it was
No, start.
yeah.
No, I totally agree. Starting your own business, if you want to fast track all of your every growth in every area of your life,
Bring
and also,
every pain point to the surface as fast as possible. That'll do it.
start a business.
So, yeah, I would say that I didn't know what I was getting into when I first started all this stuff. And that's really what happened for me is that I was like, whoa, like all this stuff in my face all of a sudden. But what was cool about that is that I that's actually kind of how I stepped into the life coaching career is I wasn't exactly a life coach before that. I was kind of just like, I know a lot of stuff from psychology and therapy and I really want to share it with people. And then it kind of transitioned into the, oh, there's like people who do this as a profession when I started getting some of that myself. So it was this progression for me of my own personal growth was happening while I was like, oh my gosh, I have to tell everybody about this. Like I've got to be a life coach. I got to do this too. So it was kind of like in tandem, which I do think happens just in general with the stuff that we learn. Like you learn it so much deeper the more you're sharing it and the more you're trying to understand it and like really get to the bottom of how does this make sense for me? And then, oh my gosh, now it makes sense. How do I make sense with this for you? So mine has been just such a like the growth that's happened in the past 3 years. I don't even know how to describe it. I'm not the same person at
No,
all. It's
you can't.
crazy. Yeah.
Love the matchy background. Thanks, Jessa.
Oh my gosh, they are.
There's a bunch of people joining us live. So just good morning to everyone. I see Vicky and Christy and Paulette and Patty and Amy and Amber and Jessa and Tammy. Good morning, our
Good
first
morning.
live show.
So fun to be back here and doing this today.
So, Allison, I love what you're saying though. Like, you have to learn it yourself in order to teach it to other people. And like, when you start to teach it to other people, you learn whatever you're teaching at a greater depth that I think you don't recognize that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. So I knew like all the stuff, all the material that I was working with prior to business, as far as like personal growth, evolving. I knew that stuff already. I was like, marriage, kids. Like, I already know the stuff that's bringing all the crap up for me. And I knew that, like, I knew my own personal things within all those that I really wanted to grow in, that I wanted to expand in, that I wanted to like figure out what the heck is all this. I already knew all that. But then bringing the business stuff in was like, it was like a different quality of stuff that I needed to work on, which has so much more to do with my own personal identity, and which then showed me how the other things were actually about my own personal identity too. But it was really easy to kind of like externalize it. But bringing in the business stuff, it was like me holding a business by myself. Okay, what is my self concept? How do I look at myself? Which then kind of like changed how I looked at then my self concept within my marriage and as a mom and all these other things. So if that makes sense, it's kind of just like been a big catalyst that has really brought all the other stuff to the forefront. And then also, as I've worked with clients, I've found out like all the stuff I've been talking about with, you know, the stuff I've been working through in my own personal life is what everybody else is dealing with too. So then it's like you're amping it up to whole new levels of how you understand things. And I am also really like, um I don't learn things at a surface level. That's never worked for me. Like I can't learn something and then just like pass it along from what I learn. I only pass along what I've integrated, because for me to get something, and it's been like this my whole life, I'm like sit here with this, like, I don't understand, it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense, what's all this stuff, and I have to like get down into the weeds of it and like pull it all apart and parse it all and like work through every little thing, which has given me a lot of really cool I would say like techniques or insights that I now use with my clients. That's just makes everything make so much sense that you can kind of use in all these different parts of your life. But yeah, it's been a journey.
Allison, are you like, do you want to go a little deeper and like talk about maybe like one identity thing that's like been a big aha?
Oh my gosh. I love going deep, first of all. Like I can't do surface stuff.
I guess the word is you want to be more vulnerable and share like a little another. Okay, great. Let's do it.
Yeah. I think some of my biggest things that have really solidified in the past year probably is seeing myself as a leader. Because like really honestly, my whole life I have been like it's very safe to be in the background kind of person. And it's very safe to just like be the one back here that's just making everybody feel good. And I'm just gonna like help y'all like feel boosted and feel good. But I'm gonna kind of stay back here because the person in the front is the person that deals with conflict. The person in the front is the person that then has to like prove something or like present cases. And that's always like being the idea of like the person like in charge or in a leadership role has always been very terrifying to me. And so
I wonder what part of your childhood that goes back to.
Oh, I could give you so many things. I mean, first of all, I'm a classic middle child. So I am the classic, like, let me help everybody get along and like make myself like less and more invisible in order to like make sure everybody's okay.
That is classic middle child. My sister is exactly like that.
Oh yeah. And codependency is a generational and a cultural phenomenon, right? And that was another huge thing in my life that was just like, it's easier to kind of stay in the background because I don't know what you might think of me then. Like if I come out in front with opinions and things to say, like people are going to have thoughts about me and that's so scary, right?
And when you're online in front of however many people, God knows how many people, people will tell you exactly what they think of you.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's funny because you and I have talked some about like just some of our personality differences, and you're like, let's do it, Allison, let's grow your business.
Oh my gosh, like, I know. Like for the last 10 years, I've been like, when is Allison going to actually take this and like run with it? Like, because Allison has been the mindset coach inside of Clutter Boss Academy for, 2.5 years, for a really long time, right? And she's incredible. The feedback that I get about her coaching is always like so positive. I mean, I have like people who come to me and they're like, Allison is amazing. I need her more than one day a week. I'm going to work with her one-on-one. Like, yeah, I'm like, that's great. And then they'll tell me like, that was an incredible decision. Like those, whatever, however long, 12 weeks I worked with Allison, like made a world of difference to me. And I'm like, do. When is Allison going to do more? Like, when is this going to like, but I know like it has to be the right timing, right? Yeah.
Well, and for me, there was so much nervous system work that had to happen. Like you can force yourself into anything, right? You can like just jump out and be like, here I am, world, and let's do this thing. But that is something that can also be something you can't hold if you haven't done the inner work to learn how to hold it. So I would say that the past couple of years have really been about me learning how to really solidify in how I see myself, my relationship with myself, the way I will speak to myself, no matter what anybody else says, the way I will think of myself, no matter what anybody else says, and like growing into that leadership role. Like I've really had to like grow my nervous system into the capacity to be able to hold a lot of discomfort that comes with like being in front of people, right? Being visible, being like, hey, I've got stuff to say that's really gonna change your life. Don't you understand? Right? Like it takes so much. um there's so much personal grounding to be able to create a safe space for that. And I would say that's really what I've been working on, like the growing of the stuff I have to say, and like gaining clientele and stuff has been the process of also me growing that capacity. So it's actually been really neat for me to kind of reflect on that, because there's been tons of times through this journey where I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Right. But it's been it's really beautiful. It is really a beautiful thing to take that kind of journey with yourself. And then to watch that kind of expand and overflow into other people's lives, and the more people you get to then hold, which is so amazing. So yeah.
I love how, I mean, I wish that I had more of that, like, let me make sure I'm fully prepared before I do this, because I feel like I've had to back into the nervous system work, so
Mhm,
like it's more of a reaction, like like
mhm.
there's no choice but to do it now because I'm about to like go over a cliff.
Yeah, yeah.
Not like that's not great, but like I don't know, like I dive in head first, period, and just like, and that's just my personality. I'm a first
Yeah.
child, right? So
Uh-huh.
like
You're also a manifesting generator.
I'm a manifesting generator, right? I've learned a lot about human design, a lot about nervous system work.
Uh-huh.
Um, but like in retrospect, it would be better for me to take things more slowly and like, but I just don't like, I can't, that's not how I like operate. But like watching you do that has been very instructive for me. Like, okay, there's another way to do this.
Well, I don't think there's any right way to do
No,
anything.
there's no right way, but there's multiple ways.
There are multiple ways, but for you, I think however things go are how they were going to go for us.
Mhm.
And so for you, that's how perhaps you couldn't have dealt with the nervous system work on the one side. You needed to go to the other
I
side to
needed
be
the
able
trigger. I needed the like the
Mhm.
serious trigger. Like because yes, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really cool. And honestly, you are such an inspiration to me all the time. I'm always like, Jess is just like always going after things, and it's so cool.
There was that whole year of just saying yes to every opportunity. Just say yes.
Amazing. It's amazing. It's a total gift. I love it.
It's however you do it, it's not wrong, right?
No,
I
no.
think that the key takeaway is recognizing that as you take these big leaps and do things that are outside of your comfort zone and that are just generally risky things to do, you also need to balance that with figuring out how to keep yourself safe and learning to recognize when you do become dysregulated and like what that looks like for you and what type of support do you need for like the next step. I am such like I actually came into all of this not I hated the coaching industry, like the life coaching
Mhm.
industry because I thought it was a lot of BS, but I have like done such a 360 on that.
Hmm.
And while I still think you have to find the right coach, right? There's a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
coaches out there that are just like truly have absolutely no business being coaches. But then you will find some coaches that are phenomenal and they can be the one thing you need to keep moving forward. And
Yeah.
it's like finding that and understanding that and knowing that you're going to need different types of support and recognizing when you do need support. That's been a really big deal for me.
Yeah. That's awesome. And it's so true. It's so true. And it is really like I think I think you learn from everything, right? And you always have permission to try out new things, try out new directions, try out new mentors. Like we have so much permission for the journey, and like whichever direction it goes, you know?
Yes. Yes. Permission.
Mhm.
Yes. And you like you come to find out you don't even need permission. it, like, this is how it should be. Like, we give
Yes.
ourselves permission, but then like, you don't need to give yourself permission. You just deserve, like, there's no, like, it just should be like this, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's really just the things that block us from those kinds of allowances and like that kind of mentality of like letting ourselves try, letting ourselves move, letting ourselves get things wrong, quote unquote, or just like all of that. That is the point of living. It's literally the point of how we're supposed to live and move and breathe and find freedom. And the things that block us from that, the things that like just put halts on all, like we hit walls, or just like our voices in our minds like stopping us in all the ways, those are the enemy. Those are the things to break down.
That's the clutter.
That's the clutter. That's
The
that's
clutter.
the clutter. And that's been my journey, is really like learning how to see those, learning how to look at them differently, learning how to allow myself things that sounded so terrifying before, and it just like the chipping away at that construct that's a block. It looks like shame, it looks like judgment, it looks like fear, all those things. It looks like scarcity. Learning how to break that down, that is where living is. And I feel like that's like my entire job in life now, is to show people that.
Break it down, clear the clutter, chip
Mm-hmm.
away at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because the physical clutter is the things that surround you. Sometimes they're like literal walls, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you break those down, there's more clutter there, but you can't see it. And you have to learn to identify it in a new way through how you feel, and through like
Mm-hmm.
observing your thoughts and noticing when like there's butterflies in your stomach, or you're like not breathing, like you're holding your breath. You're like literally like,
Yep. How often do we do that?
right?
Uh-huh.
That's the clutter that comes
Yeah.
next.
Yes. Yeah, that's the stuff. It's like this is where it's so much fun for me, because this is where it's so leaning into the like intuitiveness and the wisdom in our body, and the like the feelings. Like they are guidance. They're literally our guidance. And your body is telling you things all the time, in every moment of the day. And the way I've learned to watch for that
Sorry
now,
about that.
no worries. The way I've learned to watch for that now, like I still use this. All the stuff that I teach, I use it like every moment of every day. I've just gotten really natural at being like, oh wait, I need to like pay attention to that, because that feels like a little bit tight, or a little bit tension, or a little bit like something's going on. There's something to look at. It's all so fascinating. And it's the stuff that we all have access to all the time.
I just had to text my daughter, who's home now, today. In
Do
case you're
not-
wondering, in upstate New York, we never have school. Which I think was a theme when we were doing our live
It
stream.
was. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. Actually, just a little side note, we got like dumped on with snow. I mean, we have probably close to 3 feet at our house from one
Wow.
storm. And like there were power outages and whatever. So school was closed for 2 days. And then there was like a voicemail to everyone and a text message from the superintendent saying like school is open tomorrow. And one of my girlfriends posted like, you don't go, you miss a lot of school when they have to notify you that school is going to be open. Anyway, side note. Okay, back to this clutter stuff. This is another bit of my clutter actually has been having teenagers while building a business during the times of COVID. Like that's been another whole thing.
Yeah. We're never short of things to work.
Things.
We're never short of clutter material.
That's right. That's right. Allison, can I ask you, working in CBA, Clutter Boss Academy, how has your idea of clutter shifted over the years?
Well, it's really interesting, because I would say before CBA, I knew that I wasn't a neat freak, but I didn't like think a whole lot about it. But then after like hearing a lot of the stuff that you say and a lot of the things that people work with, I was like, wow, it really is like the things around us really do, they are physical manifestations of everything that's happening inside. And you can approach that from different ways. You can approach it from the inside first, or you can just approach from the outside first, and like giving yourself this environment. I'm such a big proponent of the idea of space and our space. So it's really made me think about it a lot in my own life. Like every day I'm like, oh yeah, I can see like where there's something happening inside of me because of the way this room looks right here. And this is an important thing that I want to like give to myself, and to like make a feeling of freedom here in this corner or this space. And just the idea that you always say of like, clutter is anything that impedes movement. It's so true, so brilliant. And that is something that comes to my mind a lot. Like this, look what this is, how this is affecting me, and what do I want to give myself based on knowing that. It's been
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Your space matters so much, but it's never about the space. It's always about what's happening inside. It's just
yes,
an external reflection of the
yes.
internal. There's Gretchen Rubin has a book called Outer Order, Inner Calm. And I think that that sums it up really nicely, right? Four
Yeah,
words, outer
yeah,
order, inner calm.
yeah. It's so nice to do all of the mindset coach simultaneously, all that stuff at the same time, because I feel like I have like this whole um other vision, that maybe some people don't, where I'm like, oh, I see this and I know how that's doing that. And I know, and I'm just like seeing how all the pieces are working together and creating the effect of what I'm experiencing, which gives me so much power and control. Cause I'm like, okay, well, what do I want then? Like, what do I want to work with here? And how do I want to do it? But it doesn't have the like the stressors. Well, I mean, my brain will still give me this stuff, but I know how to work with it. The stressors of like, oh my gosh, I have to make this all like neat and orderly now. Otherwise, I'm not going to feel calm inside. I don't have that, because I'm like, I understand how they all work together. So I can work with what I have in my space. And also I can be like, and if I don't have the time right now, I can find calm in myself at any moment. So it's fun to have it all.
And that's the magic. That
Mhm.
is where the magic happens, because it's so unrealistic to think that your house is going to be perfect. Perfect
Mhm.
is not even like a thing that is possible to
Not
attain,
real.
right? It's just not real. And I often have people come into my house and they're like, "Oh, I thought it would be more like professional organizing." And I'm like, "No, this is real life, right?" Like, I
Uh-huh.
mean, the goal is to create an environment that's very manageable, but
Yeah.
that does not mean that it is perfect and picked up. And like, I walked out of my house this morning and it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like a bomb exploded, but that's okay because I'll be able to like pick it up quickly, and I could walk out and feel calm about that because I know it's manageable when I go home. I
Mhm.
know it's not like I know it's very temporary,
Mhm.
right? And I know that if I need to like calm down, I have all these other things I can do. I
Yeah.
can go for a walk. I can, I'm in my co-working space right now, and I was putting these tiles up this morning, making mountains.
I
They're like,
love it.
right? But I really wanted to do that. And then that is soothing to my nervous system because it's something I enjoy. So I was able to leave the house behind without it like weighing on my shoulders for the whole day because I'm doing other things that I enjoy. And I know I'll be able to just pick it up quickly when I get home. But it's totally what you said. Like there's different ways to attack clutter. And we see this in CBA all the time. There will be people who join who are unable to touch any of their physical possessions for months and months and months. They show up, they listen, they ask questions, they do the mindset work, and that's what they needed first,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. It's we always have what we need. And anybody like the people that I talk to in those kinds of positions, what they it's so good to show them like you have everything you need. If you don't have something right now, you don't need that right now. This is the thing you need right now, and let's work with that.
You always have everything that you need,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of how much you own.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. You always have the material. I really love to all the stuff that I've learned so much, because that's one of the things that shows me over and over and over is I literally always have the material at any given moment. Stress is material, right? That's
Yes.
material. Like, okay, there's
Yes.
information, something to look at, and what do I want to do with that? And let's, how do I want to think about this? How do I want to feel? Like, there's just always something for us.
There's always something for us. We know everything we need to know. We just need to learn it.
Mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm.
like unwrap it like a present.
Yes, exactly.
So Allison, how has your business transitioned? Like, what's your latest? Because I know you're like sitting on something exciting.
I am. Yeah. So I have been, I've been thinking about building something for like a couple of years now. And I have, when the way I work through all the information that I have learned and continue, I do it every single day. Like when I do mindset work or feelings work or like working with my body and that stuff, the way that I do all that information has kind of pulled itself into a system of, this is how I think about this. This is how I think about this. This is how I think about this. And it's the stuff that I found myself repeating over and over to myself and over to my clients. It's like the stuff that I'm always saying. And the big pictures and the smaller pictures of
The Allison isms, if you will.
the Allisonisms. Yes. When you're, people in CBA are always like, I heard you in my head today. And I'm like, yep. So there's things that have kind of like morphed into like a set of ideas and concepts that have really, really given me imagery and visuals for how I walk through my life and how I understand my life and how I work with any information that comes to me. And I've been wanting to put that into just like a solid form that people can just like watch and review and then like use in their own life too. And so I finally did. I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make this. It's going to happen.
Hallelujah. We have been waiting for this moment for 3 years now.
Yes. It's here. Well, it's about to be here. It's launching tomorrow. So it's a course. I call it a course because it's the best way to understand something, but it's basically a series of concepts and ideas that I draw out on my huge whiteboard that I have because I'm an artist, and that's like, I have to show you how all the concepts work. So it's a way of visually showing you, this is how you can see life. You can see life with these ideas and these concepts, and then go and how you take them and use them throughout your days. So I've really purposely tried to keep this as simple as possible, because every time I get into any kind of a course, I always immediately get overwhelmed. And I'm always like, it's too much information, even though it's not necessarily that much information. So I've tried to build it in a way that's like, these are the ideas for you to work with. These are the ideas that you can revisit constantly. These are the meditations to help you like sit and work through them and think about them and like bring it into your body. But it's simple. And it's a course, like I said, but it's called Coming Home, The Sensitive Soul's Guide to the Inner World. And the whole concept is that you are your home in this life. Like, someone else is not your home house is not your home. At the core root of all of the things that you care about and love, you are the one to be the home to you in life. And so it's a teaching you how to come back to that space.
Allison, oh my gosh, I love this. I'm actually going to start crying. You are your home.
You are your home.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It changes everything to think of it that way, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It really does. It really does. Wow, that is incredible.
I love it so much. I'm so excited about it.
All right, so let's do a shameless plug for your course. If people want this,
yes.
Where do they get it?
Yes. So I can, if you can we put it in the comments, or I can just say it? The link.
We can put it in the comments. Yeah, there's I think we have some virtual assistants watching right now who will pop it in there.
Okay. So the link is thesensitivesoulsguide.com. And that's the page where you can read about it and get some of the details on like some of the things you're going to be learning inside and kind of how it's set up. And if you go and get it before tomorrow at midnight, you will get it for $200 off because the price is going up after I open it up. So right now it is $283, and it's all the details that you need are on the sales page. And also I'm like very available to answer any questions that you might have. And when it opens up, you get lifetime access. And the thing that I'm kind of excited about it is that when I talk through these different concepts, I present the concepts and the ideas, but then I do like a walkthrough of it in a separate video where it's basically like, okay, this is how I've used this in real time. Let me show you like how I see all the pieces and how it worked for me. And those I intend to keep building on because I'm doing it literally every day. And I want to just like add more examples and illustrations of that for every different kind of scenario. So that's something that's going to continue to grow over time. So if you get it at this price, you'll get stuff that keeps coming, which is kind of fun.
I'm trying to figure out how to share it because I actually just typed it in and found it, but
I think you did. Somebody did.
Oh, wait, hold on. No, just share it like on our screen right now.
Oh,
bam, here it is.
Yes.
I love this.
Yes.
And there's Allison.
There's me. With my sparkly lights all around me.
This is a beautiful web page too, Allison.
Thank you.
I mean, I know like from the techie business side of things, oh my gosh, it's like so hard to like get the tech and the email and the blah, blah, blah. Like it's just
a lot of pieces.
It's a lot of pieces, and that looks simple and beautiful. So awesome job on that.
I really wrote it like a letter. I really like the sales pages that feels like directly written to you. So that's really my letter from my heart to your heart. Whoever feels like they resonate with that, this is for you.
Yeah, and it is about finding like I said, find the coach that resonates with you, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of coaches that are not right for you. Most of them are not right for you. Find the one who is like speaking to your soul and work with them because they will change your life.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. That is the way it goes. It's so cool. I've worked with several different coaches over periods of time, and I still feel like I want to go and hire all of them again. But you get different flavors from people, but the people that you really like are like, oh my gosh, that person just gets me. And that's the kind of person that sometimes you find them right away. And sometimes you try a couple different people, but I feel like you really know when someone resonates with you when it's like, oh, that person has experienced what I've experienced. That's the kind of thing you're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're going to help me get to the next step and declutter this, whatever needs to be decluttered. All right. I see this is being shared on YouTube. It's being shared on Facebook in the comments. Thank you to everyone who is sharing. You all know we love Allison. And Allison, I'm so excited for this next step of your professional and personal journey.
Thank you. Thank you. You have been so supportive through it all. I love our friendship. It's so great.
Me too. We were meant to meet.
Yes,
so we are going to have this show with different guests every single Friday, and it's going to be all different perspectives on clutter from just the average person, right? Mm-hmm. Not like the Instagram star.
Yeah.
Just the different takes on clutter. And I'm really excited for this show, which will continue every week. And Allison, I'm so grateful you were my first guest.
It's so good to be here. I love it.
I know. Go check out Allison's course and tune in next week for another incredible conversation all about clutter from somebody else's perspective.
It's so fun.
Thank you, Allison.
Thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful to see all of you.
I know. And sorry that we didn't have a lot of advance notice for this. It was a yesterday's decision to do it today.
That's the best.
So Next week we'll give you way more advance notice.
I love it.
And if you want to be a guest on the show, just let me know and you can be a guest so we can have this conversation with you.
That's so cool. I love that.
Somebody says Allison is much more than an average person. She is. She's a rock star.
Thank you. I received that.
Love you guys. Thank you for watching. Love you, Allison. And
Love you too.
again.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye.